A very good day to you. Welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jedel Kabir. Excited to be here, to be part of this political conversations that I hope will build this country as we progress with William Ruto's administration. These conversations are very simple, truthful, and biased. With Herman Manyora, who puts them across in a hard-hitting way. How are you?
Good.
Talking about expulsion, Raila's ODM kicking five of its members out, saying, look, it's high time they go home for causing up with the president. Are we looking at what we saw back in 2017 when they tried to kick, I think, the likes of Ukuri Atanis, and they tried to do away with Aisha Jumwa, and now they held their offices until, the elections? Is this yet another occasion where we see, parties not getting their way?
Most likely these guys will hang in there until next election. And the president talked about it when he was telling Elisha, don't worry, this is normal with ODM. I also was kicked out, but I did my thing until 5 years were over. It is indeed very sad, if you ask me.
Why so?
First of all, we need to grow our democracy. And the political parties are a very essential and integral part of that democracy. So if you don't have party discipline, then you don't have political parties. If you don't have political parties, then you cannot talk about democracy. So we'll be very careful about these things.
What is party discipline for you? Causing up with the president, of course, the constitution is all about freedom to have your opinion, freedom to move, freedom to associate. And then there is also the party's constitution too. Have they violated the constitution of the party, let's say, if they work with the president, as they say?
Before even violating the constitution or the law, they have violated common sense. It's common sense that if you are with ODM and then you go and shout there, doing the things these fellows are doing and saying the things they are saying, then common sense dictates that you just take a walk. Go out of ODM. It's common sense. Where is the law even? Where is the constitution? It's common decency, common sense, common decency. Values which we are saying we must instill in ourselves if we are to be a human race, human beings instead of animals. Certain things cannot be done by animals. You cannot be elected on an UDA ticket, then do the things some people are doing, and then say you hold any values and even self-respect. You must self-respect. That's what I'm talking about.
So this is not an issue of the constitution.
No, it doesn't even need to be the constitution.
Because they are going to court. I think it's Kisumu Senator Tom Jen who's going to court actually.
And the court where agenda is going, the thing will be there for a week, for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And I've said, people, I was just replying to a tweet by Professor Makawa on the same issue. And I say, people as individuals and the institutions like the calls, the register of political parties, etc., who are charged with the responsibility of processing these things must do so expeditiously, quickly. Remember, I've also said, we are dying, killing ourselves, committing suicide across the Mediterranean and going to Europe. We are subjecting ourselves to humiliation to get visas to go to Europe and America and elsewhere. Because those countries are developed, because they are clean, things are working. If these countries of ours are going to be clean and where things will work, we must be serious. Part of being serious is doing things that require quick attention. You do so quickly. If the party says these people are no longer our members, who else do you want to listen to? Under Article 99, you cannot go to parliament unless you are an independent candidate if you are not a member of a political party. So what is this all procrastination and delays and all manner of shenanigans from the tribunal to register political parties to the courts? No. Then we will never move. I've been saying this on TV this morning. We will never move as people. We will remain a poor, dirty third world country. We have to be serious.
So are you expecting a by-election?
No. You and I know there will be nothing. That's what I'm saying. It's really sad. It is extremely sad. Look at South Africa. They can recall the president, the party, tell you go home, take a walk. Zuma, take a walk. Mbeki, take a walk. The party just says come here. you are no longer our president.
Then
And you go home.
Then what does this mean about Kenya, though? Are we in a place where our political leaders are dictating, what ought to be done to our, institutions? Is this the case? Because for so many people, they believe Ruto will save the likes of Jalango. Is this what we're looking at?
It doesn't matter. The president has talked about it. Everybody knows. All I'm saying, if we want to be serious people, we must be serious. If we are content with living in a country where half of the population goes to bed hungry, where we have millions upon millions of children, young people without jobs, including those with college education, as Americans would put it. If we are content with living in a country where people die from diarrhea, if we are content with living in a country whose capital city, Nairobi, has over 80% of the population living in those things you call slums, or even access not to clean water, just access to toilet, basic toilet facilities is not there. If that is okay with us, let's continue. Let the register of political parties take as long as she wants. Let the tribunal take as long. Let the courts, let them take as long as. And then they go to Karen, because they will drive from those courts, those judges, they will drive to Karen. They will drive to Lavington. But I'm warning them. They are courting disaster. They are courting disaster. Because the last thing we cling on when everything else is lost is law and order. When that one is gone, you can't go to Karen. You won't drive to Karen. You lose that Lavington. It's gone. It's gone.
My thinking
Your child want to go to these big schools. It is gone.
Is there room for independent thinking in political parties? Remember, it's Junet who once said, "Msione sisi ni wajinga tunafuata baba ka ng'ombe." He once said that before. What is the room for independent thinking when you look at Pasaris's way of voting for the finance bill against the party wishes?
You see, the party can get annoyed with you if you don't vote with them. But that's as far as they can go. They can de-whip you so that you are not a member of a committee. That happens across the world. People are de-whipped by not towing the line, voting, thinking, and what have you. But what we are discussing here is outright defection. You leave your party, you cross over. From the other side, you put on the uniform of the other side. And they throw barbs this side. I hear one of the guys is appearing with a lawyer. One or two of them appeared with counsel. And they were told, no, this is a domestic issue. Why are you bringing lawyers here?
Bring lawyers from
and what is worse is not even that. It's the fact the lawyers they came with were UDA lawyers. You know, that kind of stupidity is what I'm talking about. As a country, and I was giving you an example on TV today, where you are caught with a forged certificate, and you have become an MP, you are taken to court. Kenya National Examination Council, the owners of the certificate say it's not our certificate, and they give reasons. The school where you purported to have gone, say no. In fact, that year he's saying this school was not there. This school was established 10 years later. In fact, the number of the certificate belongs to Kimutai. With all these things, evidence in court.
You're talking about Sudi.
No, I'm not talking about Sudi.
It's Sudi.
Is it Sudi alone? Is it Sudi alone with certificates? Cases of certificate. There are many. We have seen them. Even when these gubernatorial things and before that, they are there. Some of them are ministers. But the court cannot decide on a simple case like that. Look, if they think I am being too hard on them, the chicken gate scandal of those ballot papers that were done in UK through corruption. The UK counterparts to the scandal, which was handled by Serious Fraud Office, the cases were concluded, people were jailed, they served their term, they are out. Here, haijapiga hata hatua moja. If we think we will continue in that manner and still have a country tomorrow where we leave our children, then we are actually just stupid people. It can't work. There are no two ways about these things. Because these people down here, you think they are stupid and useless. But like Chinua Achebe says, if they were useless and if God didn't love them, how would he have made so many of them? For every one person in Karen, how many are in Kibra?
100.
So God was stupid. Chinua Achebe says no.
You've said this is outright defection. Let me look at these names. I'm holding the newspapers today. Top agenda, Rongo MP, Paul Abor, Jalango, Felix Oduor, GEM MP, Elisha Odhiambo, Suba MP, Suba South, Carolee Omondi. Do they stand a chance if we get to a place of running without ODM, especially looking at Jalango?
None of them can go back. I know people cite my friend Ocheng, but the situation is a little different. None of them can go back to parliament. Now, of course, none of them. Absolutely none of them.
So you look at this situation where they are here, most of them also appealing to Ruto to help them now.
How now?
Because he's the president.
How?
And I remember, I think it is the judiciary yesterday that Martha Koome said they need the independence of the judiciary to be respected. Where are we when you look at the judiciary and political parties' influence?
I hate to say that the judiciary could be a missing link in the fight for common decency and progress in this country. I hate to say it, but that's a fact. I have to say it. Some of these judges are my friends, but I have to tell them.
There's a missing link.
And it's not just a particular judge or a particular court. It is the entire judiciary. I once appeared on TV with Harvey when he was president, and he kept harping on the issue of being president. I even said this word president should be removed. Watch a to LSK chairman, because the word president in India kwa kichwa yao. They imagine for a while they are like Uhuru Kenyatta or Ruto. And I told them, I will never be convinced the judiciary is working until there is movement within the courts. There must be movement. The backlog of cases is not a product of staffing or funding or even digitalization. No. It is more than that. We must ask ourselves, is it proper that we hide under the adversarial system where the bench just sits? Can the bench become active? Which law in this country prevents the court from being active? From even clerking, in a hospital when you go, you don't just have to see a consultant. You can see a clinical officer. They are clerking you, clinical. They are clerking you. Small little things they can take temperature, nurses. You can even be given treatment by a clinical officer and you go away. You go to court. And the way the cases stay there, I have one from 2019 or 18. The reason for which it is adjourned and the uncertainty thereafter, you don't even when it will you just laugh. It is. So they must find out how to ensure justice is moving. There's movement in the judiciary, in the courts. There's no movement. I was once hospitalized with acute pancreatitis. And I remember Dr. D'Souza in Kisumu and Dr. Ali Boy. They were banging my tummy and said, this is a dead abdomen. This is a dead
abdomen.
That's why pancreatitis can kill you within seconds. Everything just stops working. The abdomen stops moving. Every organ in the body becomes wild and there's no movement. So whenever there is no movement, where there should be movement, there is a problem. The Dead Sea. You know about the Dead Sea?
Yeah.
The judiciary should not stop being like the Dead Sea. There must be movement. How can we process cases? We begin by doing the obvious. Find a way like these very obvious cases of party discipline. Why would the courts waste time on such simple things? Why? Remember, I want to say something so that the judiciary I know a thing or two. If you look at traditional societies, and most of these have been put in books by people like Chinua Achebe, even the Greek society, ancient Greek, if you look at Greek mythology in literature, you'll find that the gods were among the people. The gods were not in heaven. Yeah. The gods were among
the people.
So in LH Ahmad is the concubine. That I've forgotten her name. Yeah. A man moved her, he died. Another one died, I think 3. Then they say, she's a sea goddess. She was not a woman like people thought. In Chinua Achebe's things fall apart. You find a woman mingling with other women during the market day. But at some point she's a goddess. The judges, the people coming to preside over cases within the Igbo traditional system, must put on masks so that you don't know who is this. Is this Okongo? Why are our judges not learning these things? Because from when I was growing up, I knew those people going to do law are people who are good at literature and history and things of that nature. What am I trying to arrive at? The people who preside over cases in society are from the society. They can't be thinking differently from the society. They're only giving guidance and weighed opinion, weighed from their training as lawyers. But it's nevertheless an opinion. They cannot say things that are a departure from common sense. The judiciary, the lawyers and what cannot say things that don't add up to the people in society. And finally, we do not bring judges from Canada or Japan or South Korea because they speak English and put them to preside over these cases. Why? We give people who live in this country, who know what's going on, who think like us, see like us, appreciate our history, know everything. That's why Justice Kega, whatever it's called, in that BBI case, he was going to the history, which is correct. So the judges understand what's going on.
So even if it's not in
people have argued, for example, the Supreme Court has 14 days to hear a presidential petition. I hear people, even lawyers, saying that is too short. Even 6 months you cannot hear presidential petition. Because a real petition must and can involve recount of votes. You can't do that in 6 months. You need a year or 2 or 3. So why was 14 days given? It is an overview of what took place, for heaven's sake. And you live in this country.
The judges know.
They live in this country.
So if these cases are brought before them, you urge them to deal with them within a day?
Immediately, a day, and they go home. There are many cases in the courts which should be dealt with immediately. There are many cases in court which the court can just ask you, let's stand up today and go. Like my mother had a dispute with land. She died before, she started when I was a kid. She died before it was finished, about a couple of years ago in 20. My mother died in 2009 and the sister died thereafter. Some people have subdivided land and they put the demarcations. Then later on, wanaruka. Those things they use for demarcation, those things that are common among society, they have become big trees. One day there was a case against Angaine's land in Meru when he was minister. And some serious court. They say, are you saying these people have encroached on your land? Yes. They are squatters in your land? Yes. Do you know where the land is? Yes, let's go. Let's go now. Now. So, they came to your land yesterday. These houses, do they look like they were put up yesterday? These trees and the crops, do they look like they're 1 year old or 10 years or 5 years? Go home. That's the court I'm looking at.
So for these ones, what do you tell them?
Yes, just the court should just say go home. And there's no room for appeal.
All right.
Or if they appeal, the day they appear at the court of appeal is the day they are sent home. So go back. We need party discipline. You subscribe to this party, to the ideals. And they took you to parliament. Now you are misbehaving. Go and look for re-election using the party you now love. It's a simple matter. Please allow me to say this.
Ataka time inaisha.
Hata kama time inaisha. Hii ni jambo moja, sio matatu. Moja.
Mambo ni moja.
Unless we do this, we are setting up ourselves for big trouble. Big trouble as a country. It
starts with discipline, not works.
Yeah. And because the court is a place of last resort. That when you go there, you know, you submit yourself, you know something will be decided. Not necessarily in your favor, but it will be decided in such a way it brings closure and finality. But the way things are, the courts never bring closure and finality to anything.
All right.
We can't allow that.
Thank you for tuning in into this conversation. Manyora says, mambo ni moja. This thing must be dealt with finality. Until we do talk again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.